Just brains. Hey there, listeners. Today we're going to go over 5 books I think every writer should read. It's not a comprehensive list, it's just my opinion. There are many more books to read, and anything that you read will help you in your craft. But these 5 I think are very helpful. The first on the list is Tortilla Flat by John Steinbeck. It's a book about a delinquent who came home after the First World War and inherited a house and basically just parties, and that's pretty much the book. It's small, but it's funny despite being written in 1935. It's held up really well, and just it's very well written. I flew through it in a single day and enjoyed every second of it. Second on the list, I can't actually find my copy of, despite having, but it is written by Hunter S. Thompson, who has written Great Shark Hunt and The Rum Diary. But the book in question is Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. If you have not read this book, you need to go out and get it right now. The premise, again, is very simple. A journalist and his attorney are supposed to be going to Las Vegas to write an article about a motorcycle race in the desert. So they rent a car, load the trunk up full of drugs, and go to Las Vegas. Hell ensues. It's a hilarious book. It helps see that every character that you're writing about kind of perceives the world differently, and in order to be a good writer, you need to know how to get into their head. While this is a semi-autobiographical story, considering Hunter S. Thompson actually went to Vegas and actually was writing about this particular race, it's still probably not exactly how things went down. Nonetheless, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Get it and read it. The next book on the list is Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov. Excuse me, my Russian is obviously terrible. This book is very controversial. It's basically about a 30 to 45-year-old man trying to get with a 12-year-old girl. Obviously, you're probably wondering, why would I want to read a book about an old man trying to get with a 12-year-old? Because that's just it. This pushes censorship in such a way that it makes you uncomfortable reading it, but it's so well written that it is art. It is worth existing. It's not something that should have been thrown away. It's something that will teach you that you need to write whatever you're inspired to write. Even if you don't agree with what you're writing about, even if you find it deplorable, you need to not hold yourself back. You need to write what comes to you. You need to let your muse flow through you. So yes, this book has some gut-wrenching things going on. Terrible, terrible things going on. But it is beautifully written, and it'll help you get past any potential censorship within yourself. Your art is above you and your morals. Know that. The next book on the list is The Illuminatus Trilogy by Robert Anton Wilson. What this book is about is the Illuminati, of course. It was written in the 70s before the current Illuminati craze started popping up. This book is so convoluted and clever and complex that it's mind-boggling. It's about a bunch of different people all getting swept up into a giant conspiracy that could very well destroy the world. And it's filled with sex, drugs, violence, insanity, just political satire. Reading the back of it, it says, an epic fantasy, a devilishly funny work loaded with humor, puns, up-level ironies that make you burst out laughing, by a New Age journal. It has a giant golden submarine and a talking dolphin, as well as hash-smoking assassins and juice laced with LSD and strange islands called Fernando Poo, and just crazy societies and magic and noir-inspired detective stories, and all of it linking things from Atlantis to the JFK assassination to the Illuminati, everything coming together all into one epic story. This will teach you how to think outside of the box and to make complex stories, because when you read it the first time, you'll be overwhelmed and you might just have to go back and read it again. So again, the Illuminati Trilogy by Robert Anton Wilson and Robert Shea. I forgot to mention his name the first time. Oops. The last book on this list of 5. This is a book that I cannot say that I have finished, and I'm not ashamed to say that. This is also a book that I would more than love to read on this channel. However, despite the fact that its author has been dead for longer than 70 years and his book should be in the public domain, legal issues arose and his family have kept hold of it, and so this book won't be in the public domain for just under 20 years. That book is James Joyce's Finnegan's Wake. What this book is about is up to much debate. James Joyce wrote what is considered one of the greatest English novels ever written, Ulysses, which is another book that you should probably read. After he wrote that book, he decided to do something insane, which is this book. It is so bizarrely written. He makes up words and changes things and plays jokes and just uses weird tricks to tell a story that is so many levels thick that scholars have written books on what this might be about, and they still don't quite know. Another interesting thing is it starts midway in a sentence, and the sentence begins at the end. So this book is cyclical in nature. So again, try reading this. Don't be ashamed if you can't get through it, but try it anyway. It'll teach you how to think outside of the box. Again, get creative. Don't be bound by tradition, modern ideas of what you should be doing when you're writing. Do what you're inspired to do and do it well. Let your voice come through. I really wish I could read this on this channel. I think it would be a trip. But, again, issues. So, those are 5 books that I think every writer should read. Probably did not give enough information for any of them. I highly recommend every single one of them, and I should probably recommend more books in the future. Again, this is by no means a comprehensive list. Anything you read will enhance your craft. But anyways, thanks for listening, and I hope your saga has a happy ending.